to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Jess. I'm sorry if you can hear a lawnmower going. I'm in the fall spirits and think that summer is completely over. However, Ohio hasn't quite agreed with me, so my neighbor is mowing their lawn. I'm sorry if you can hear it. But today's video is going to be my middle of the month, or as close to the middle of the month as I can get, check-in for my Whether It Is Hype or Not book. And this month's book is Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. And guys, I'm not even that far, and I have thoughts. I'm just going to go ahead and say it first off to give you kind of like an overall idea of how this video is going to go. I'm very disappointed in this book. If you absolutely love these books, if you love this series, I would click out because you're not going to like this video. No, someone wanted to come say hi. Hi, baby. This is Bella. This is the cat. If you guys follow me anywhere else, we had to get her teeth removed because she had like a little disease, and now she's just the happiest, most loving kitty ever again, and I'm so happy. Mama's filming, you gotta go somewhere else. Alright, sorry about that. So back to the book. Like I said, if you are a fan of this book, click out because you're not gonna like what I have to say about it. Now, I have been reading this book a little bit slower than I normally read books. However, today is where's my phone? Today is September 5th, so I haven't read too much of the book, but I did, however, still want to sit down and kind of film how I've been feeling about the book so far, because like I said, I already have feelings on it, and I intend on finishing the rest of it, obviously, over the next couple of weeks, but I wanted to sit down and film just a check-in. I might film multiple check-ins, I haven't quite decided. So this may be the first of many check-ins, or maybe the only check-in before I do my entire wrap-up for the book. But let's go ahead and get started just on how I'm feeling about it. Currently, I'm on page 55. 55, you guys. 55 pages in, and I'm already very disgruntled and upset about how the book is going. Alright, now, I wanted to go ahead and start this with a couple of things that I'm loving about this book so far. Now, Leigh Bardugo is one of the best writers that I have read in a very long time. Her writing style, the way that she describes things, I just absolutely love her writing style. Now, she's also one of the nicest people you will ever meet. She's absolutely gorgeous. She is so down to earth. I absolutely love her now. The Grisha trilogy, I absolutely loved. I thought that those books were wonderful. Even though I hated Mal, I think that, you know, that's just preference on whether or not you like somebody. So let's not think that I am dogging Leigh Bardugo, because like I said, I absolutely love her. So her writing style and her as a person, I'm just such a fan, but this book has a couple of misses for me still. And one thing I'm also very excited about with this book is we're getting a little bit more of Nina and Matthias's backstory. Now, one of the things that I really craved and missed in the first book was more information on people, because, I don't know, the characters just seemed too put together in a way. I know they have like their own problems, but they still seemed too put together, and that really bugged me because there was no backstory on anybody, and it was hard to relate to people when you didn't know necessarily where they came from. Now, obviously there are instances of small portions of their backstory, but I just wanted more. I can't explain why that really bugged me, and I know that sounds kind of like a cop-out, but honestly, I just get so much more character development out of other stories, including the Grisha trilogy, than I did with this one, so that kind of drove me nuts. I know you guys can hear that. I'm so sorry. One of the things that I absolutely hate about these books is Kaz. Now, I know that's an incredibly unpopular opinion. Like, I know that it's very unpopular. However, I cannot relate to Kaz. I do not like Kaz. I do not like his actions. I do not like why he does the good things that he does. It's always for self-gain. Now, obviously I'm only 55 pages in, so I don't know if that's going to change as I get further along in the story. However, with what Kaz has done so far, I don't find him a very redeemable character. As someone who is a victim of abuse in their past, like mental and physical, I find it very hard to excuse the things that Kaz does, and the biggest thing that I have an issue with is the way that he essentially uses Nina. I think Nina is a very, very wonderful character. I think that she's a strong woman, and I don't just say that because I'm a woman or anything like that. I think that she's very well written. I love her story. I love her personality. All of it. I hate how Kaz basically uses her as essentially bait for everything. The book starts out with him trying to distract this banker, this like important businessman in the city, and he uses Nina in a very provocative way to draw his attention away from the from what's happening. Now, I understand that needs to be written into a story, but the way that Kaz addresses it, he's really just like, well, that's just how it's gonna be. So here's the quote that I have here. Wyland knew Nina could handle just about any man in any situation, but he didn't think she should have to sit half-dressed in a drafty gambling parlor perched on some leering lawyer's lap. At the very least, she was probably going to catch a cold. So Kaz kind of sets her to do this task, like I said, of keeping the attention of this gentleman. Now he says, Smee never cheats at cards or on his wife. He's like half the amateur strutting around the barrel. Most of the time he's respectable, scrupulous, strict economies, and half a glass of wine at dinner. But once a week, he enjoys feeling like he's an outlaw, matching wits with the high rollers on East Stave, and he likes a pretty blonde on his arm when he does it. I understand where Nina is from, like her backstory. I understand, you know, what she does for a living or what they assume she does for a living in the book. However, I don't like that Kaz uses that. I don't think that it is right. I don't think that that is something that you can excuse. And maybe I'm being too hard on him. I don't know, because obviously people really disagree with me. And I'm hoping something wonderful happens in the later chapters of this book, because as it stands now, Kaz Wrecker may be my least favorite character in a book ever. Now later on in the book, on page 24, 23, 24, Wylan and Kaz are at the lawyer's house attempting to, well, break in to gain information on where Inej may be. Now, at one point they encounter these dogs, and Kaz uses a whistle to kind of calm the dogs down. And then he makes a comment to Wylan. He says, now why can't people be this easily trained? I get where Kaz is coming from with the life that he has lived. However, the thing that happens to him, you know, living in this city, how that changed him, I still feel like you make a conscious effort to either continue to be a dickhead or not, and I think that he is making that decision, and that's what really gets to me. Making comments like that, like, yeah, you can be, like, a lot of people do a lot of cruel things, but it's like, even in passing, even when Kaz is just like talking to other people, he makes comments like that, and I think that speaks a lot to the type of person that he is. I think that he is a very awful person. Like I said, I'm still waiting for something great to happen to redeem him. I've had friends that have read this that said he never redeems himself. I have people that say that he absolutely redeems himself. I understand why people like the broken character, but he's not broken. He's cruel. He's actually a really, really cruel person. Now, one of the things that was brought up, or that I thought of, was people kind of equating Kaz and Matthias to each other. Now, because they both, Matthias obviously hates Grisha, and Kaz obviously hates everybody. People are like, well, why is it okay that Matthias can do this and Kaz can't? Kaz has not been this way his entire life. Matthias is literally trained in the culture that he is from to be that way for forever. He is pretty ignorant, and you figure that out in the end of the first book. He is very ignorant to what his culture is actually doing, you know? And it's very hard when you're surrounded by the culture that Matthias was to come out a completely different person. It was totally normal for them, and for Kaz, he had a normal life before. So he knew that the type of person that he was isn't the type of person that you should be. Matthias didn't really know. And Matthias, when presented with evidence otherwise in the form of Nina, started changing his mind. You get a lot of that story in the first book, so if you've read that, you understand what I'm talking about. He takes in Nina when the boat that they're on crashes, and he does a lot of things that are against his nature to help her. And that is what I'm wanting from Kaz. I feel like that is really, really missing from him. And I don't know, it just doesn't sit right with me that Kaz knows that he's doing wrong and continues to do wrong. And the reason why I feel like he knows it is because Inej has obviously pointed out to him that she cares deeply for him, that she wants to be with him, she wants a relationship with him, but she doesn't want dirty hands. Dirty hands is, I don't know, he's just awful. I think that Kaz is an awful character. And like I said, I'm only 55 pages into this book, and I'm hoping something miraculous happens because everybody absolutely loves Kaz Wrecker and I do not, but we'll just see how it goes. Hopefully I'll film another check-in soon for it, but that is how I feel so far on this book. I'm gonna sit down tonight and read some more. Maybe I'll film another little check-in next week. We'll see. Now let me just wrap up this video by saying that everybody gains different things from books. How I feel about this book is obviously not how you're possibly going to feel about this book. You could really, really love, you could be one of those people that's gonna leave a really mean comment about how much they hate me for not liking this book so far, but that is the beauty of reading. We all gain different things from it. I just wanted to be a soundboard for people who are interested in more of the content of these books, whether or not they think it is worth it. And honestly, so far with kind of what I'm experiencing, I don't necessarily know how I'm going to feel about it. We'll just have to see how it goes. But I hope you guys are having a good week, and I will see you guys in my next check-in. Bye.